The declaration of law by the court does not fall within the ordinary person's understanding what honesty is.
Yes.
Everyone has a sense of what is just and what is fair. But those parameters of justice and fairness may not have been translated as legal rules, acts, or regulations or something. It's very difficult to explain that the court can't just punish a person because that person did anyayam. We need to have evidence.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Lawyer Podcast. My name is Jana Krishnan. I'm your host, the founder of the Daily Lawyer, and today is yet another episode in our careers in the law series. Today I'm very excited. I'm always very excited when I'm recording a podcast series, but this is our first in-person podcast in Chennai. We're doing a series with legal luminaries from the Madras High Court, and I'm so happy, so honored to start with my first guest, Justice Prabha Sridevan. Thank you, ma'am, for giving me your time. Justice Sridevan is a former judge of the Madras High Court. She was also the former chairperson of Legislative Property Appellate Board, which is IPAB. Beyond her judicial accomplishments, Justice Sridevan has made significant contributions in her literary works. She's translated Tamil literature into English, and she was responsible for bringing a lot of literary gems from Tamil literature to the English-speaking audience. And today, I know I gave a very short introduction of Justice Sridevan because I want her to speak about her journey and I want her wisdom to come out. So, with that, thank you and welcome to the Daily Lawyer Podcast.
Thank you and good morning to Daily Lawyer listeners.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Jana.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, like I said, you have had, I know that when you come from a family of lawyers, you were married to a lawyer, and then you became a lawyer yourself. Because you became a lawyer before that, you had already embraced the role of a mother, the role of a wife, and then you went to law school and then got your law degree. Usually, I ask all the guests to take us back and tell us how they started from. But I would like them to tell me from that perspective, how did you start? Having this dual role of a mother and a wife, and then getting into law school, and then to work.
Yes, when I became a lawyer, I was a lawyer. My boys were 13 and 10. But even before that, I was going to the law school. So I was taking time off from home in that sense.
Yeah.
But that was always during the school hours, so it didn't really matter. And then even after I became a lawyer, since I joined my husband's office, there was that understanding.
He was your boss.
And so I could tell my boss I have to go home and children will come back. It is not easy, but I think I had an easier time compared to other lawyers who probably are trying to balance. Balancing both equally is not possible.
Yeah.
Because there are different kinds of demands. And one tries to balance this. And by the time my husband became a senior counsel, I had to shoulder more responsibilities of the office. By the time my boys were also older, shape. For me, the facing was quite even based, I think. That way,
Yeah.
it doesn't even.
It's easy, as in you've been very kind to say that it's easy, but you come back. I agree that you can come back from work and you come back home. But then your work doesn't stop. You still have to do the drafting, you still have to do the reading, preparation, clients will come to meet. So how did you manage to integrate your work into your life?
One advantage that I had was a mother was there. So when I went to the office at the evening to kind of prepare, I knew that she was there. And, she doted on my children and my children were over there.
Yeah.
So that was a great bliss. That was an yes. And my boys, I don't think they gave me too much trouble to their own mother.
So you
That's how it seems today.
They just guide. So why I'm asking is, it is a demanding career, and today we are all in that junction where we're trying to balance work, we're trying to balance home, we're trying to balance other demands that are placed on us by virtue of being wives, daughters, families. And you have done that. You have gone through that. There was a time in your life where you had to run two engines, run the household and run the legal practice. So I'm very inspired by the fact that you did it so, you managed it so successfully, being so kind and humble and saying, it just happened to me, but no good to know, like you say.
Mr. Swan has looked at my actions. I said that I don't think women should ever feel guilty that they have not given their best to one of the girls.
No.
It will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think, what if I could have spent more time? What if, I think that we should avoid. At every moment, I think all of us, we try to do our best.
Yeah. That's all we do.
That's what we should do. And we should run only our race, not that 100%.
Now, please. This one dialogue I will take and I'll put on LinkedIn and say, we should run only our race. Yes, we should. And there is so much more meaning to what you're saying, more than just saying that. All the conditioning, everything, all that comes in this one line that you have said. Literally. You spoke about Justice Sonia Sotomayor. And for those who probably don't know, she was the US Supreme Court judge. And you gave a very nice segment to my next question. So thank you.
Anyway, I will grab on stage.
Yes.
She's a friend.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I'm going to ask Kanchi over the podcast. But the life of a judge, you were a judge. And you were the fifth judge of the Madras High Court. Now that is a conversation by itself in terms of women representation, judiciary, etc. But a lot of people, at least this is my understanding, a lot of people are very misinformed about the life of a judge. They think that judges work from 11 to 4 or 11 to 5 years. That's it. Such a cushy job. 2 months to get shooting, which is not at all the truth. And could you inform our listeners about the life of a judge?
See, the other thing that, with an inverted commas, hurts people is the fact that we have vacation.
Yeah.
I feel it means. And so, whenever judges to Chudamani, they can have machine. But you are right, the work does not stop with with just going to the court and sitting on the bench and returning. We have to work
Before and after.
Before and after. For me, I will repeat what you said, that it was easy in the sense. One of my sons lives in USA.
Mm-hmm.
And the other son got married in 1999. I became a judge in 2000.
No.
So, for various reasons of prudence and practicality, when I became a judge, he and his wife moved.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said, lawyers will come to meet their mom. It's better. So, I was by myself. So, I could spend on that time that my job required to my bundles, to dictation, to reading. And there are other demands. Being a judge, we have meetings constantly in the court.
Yes.
And things like that. It is a really hard work.
I think if you can just tell the audience how hard judges work, people really need to appreciate how hard they work, much harder than lawyers do. Because I think a day will begin very early to finish all the matters, to at least read it personally before you, and then there are 50 matters in a day, 60 matters in a day. Imagine the energy required for reading so many matters. And then sitting and listening to various people who are coming to you and arguing and presenting their points. And then deliberating on them after your conduct. So it's a long days. So if you could just take them through that. And what else you said about community details and camera.
There are so many issues, and then each judge is allocated a district. It's called, I know only the Madras High Court.
Yeah.
So it's called that portfolio. Whatever problems there are, they can come to us.
Mm-hmm.
And even the judges there, have some issues, some problems they have. So this being a judge is not, it's not just that listening to the lawyers and that's it. It requires more than that, and it's also in some ways a lonely life. Then, I suppose it is like that for doctors too, I don't know. But for lawyers, the sharing of what a particular case, that burden that it casts on us, sometimes has to be borne easily, and we also have to make sure that we do not in any way interrupt the integrity of the institution. It's not yes. When we take the oath of without fear or fame or affection or evil, it's not just for what you say that 10 to 4:30 those hours. It's for 24/7. Yeah.
As long as you hold office and then when after that is
and even now, I am very cautious about absolutely. So let us very onerous job, but I like taking such as rewarding this one.
And you also have the real chance. I think all lawyers do, but certainly because we're speaking about being a judge, you have a real chance of affecting change. With one stroke of your pen, you can really affect social, behavioral, cultural, economic change in the country. So it is a huge responsibility, isn't it?
Right.
You have done a remarkable job of that responsibility. Because I'm loving the segues that are happening in this conversation, making my work very easy. Speaking about your judgments, I did say, and maybe a lot of people didn't know this, but for those who don't know, NAM has written a lot of judgments on gender equality, which I already mentioned, and one particular judgment where she has specifically called out the economic value of homemakers, which is something that really struck me, not just as a lawyer, but also in many cases, a homemaker as well. And that is something I want to talk to you about. Because, like I was telling you before we started recording, I had not heard of that judgment before this with I did share certain incidents with you, and I was so touched to see that there's a judgment where you have allocated this economic value of homemakers. So can you speak a little bit about that, about the judgment a little bit, but also what do you mean by that? What did you want to convey by that?
Before that, I'll give an aside. It's not often that judges realize the impact that a particular judgment has had on people. But in this case, the economic value of the homemakers one minor deepika. Once I was at a very popular sari shop, and one woman came. So she said, "Medikane Prabha Sridevan." That I want you first. I said, "Yeah." So she said, "I'm so happy, ma'am, that," she said this in Tamil. "I'm so happy, ma'am, now I know that my word has truth."
Wow.
So I feel very happy about this. So he said, "Thank you." I mean, even if it's just one woman, it has had an impact on other corruptions. This is about, like this case came about. I don't know, some of you may know, but it's worth repeating. This is about a young girl, a minor, who lost her parents in motor accident. So it was the appeal against the award of the motor accident claims tribunal that Justice Chudamani and I thought. Why we were hearing the arguments, I realized that The child needed to be compensated for the loss of the father and the loss of the mother. The emotional loss, we keep that aside. But did she suffer financially because of the loss of the father? That's easy to calculate because you know what a father is.
Yeah.
Did she lose financially because of the loss of the mother? So I told this seminar, we write this that but it has a life. The work that the nobody does at home, which is not considered work at all, as well.
Yes.
So that's how that case came about. And in fact, both of us were skeptical about it being approved by the Supreme Court because the lawyers had not taken up this matter. It was just we just said it. But luckily for us, immediately this was Sindhi and this was Ganguly and the two. They said we agree with this husband. And later, about I think 3-4 years ago, Justice Ramana, 3 judge bench said that Deepika, the Madras High Court is right. And recently too, the judges of the Supreme Court have referred to it. They have not referred to the case name. That doesn't matter. Hereafter, it is difficult to deal with the homemakers' work as manual laborers. So it has come into the jurisprudential space and it has changed it for the industry. But beyond this, I would like to make one observation. Even in that judgment, we said that this does not apply only in cases of accidents. Even when matrimonial property is removed, anywhere where the woman makes a claim for what she is, this concept should be applied. And I haven't seen yet like that being done. Either the lawyers have not argued or somehow it has not got the judicial eye. But soon, I think that should also, that should come. That change should come. This is not only when she dies.
Yeah.
Even when she lives and she makes a claim. Let's say after 20 years of marriage, for some reason the marriage breaks up. What she has contributed to the 20 years will have to be valued even if she has not worked within the how we understand.
Like no monetary income is coming, but then what you do in the house, the way you take care of the house, is valuable.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling so heard when I hear what you are saying. Because one reason why I'm asking and understanding what you see as a lawyer, there's something in this profession. But there is another layer why I want to talk to you about this, and maybe you can elaborate a little more. And that is a very human layer, very for women like us, or women across the world. Doesn't matter what your economic condition is.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter whether you're studying, you're not studying, or you're educated.
Doesn't matter.
We all have this condition that if I quit my job and I'm sitting from, you're wasting your life. What are you doing? And we accept that. So from that angle also, ma'am, you can just tell me what is so important. You can reinforce your point to all the people who are listening. Who are not lawyers, who are not going to take this up as an argument, but just in their own self-dialogue say that he has economic value. Not just anything else. I can translate that into money because I am easily every other person in this house is earning towards.
Yeah, that's right. So, see, in whatever language the JD lawyer's business now, in Tamil, if somebody asks, well, what is your wife doing? The answer will be Virjana Tanga, which means she's only staying at home, which is indicating that it is zero work.
Yes.
But it is not zero work. So I think first of all, we should alter the language.
Yeah.
Language plays such an important role in our mind condition. So suppose we say, instead of she stays at home, she works at home.
Yeah.
Then maybe it will sound different.
Yes.
And nowadays, most parents, most people with children think that they need to eat. Like, so they want both the partners to go to the outside. When that is happening, both the partners should also work at home.
Yes.
So this working at home, if you are contributing your work and earning money by going to work outside, you must also contribute your work, which has an economic value.
At home, yes. This too, we are going to put it everywhere. Hopefully, it will go viral. So, but it's very important that we discuss this. And my mother-in-law, now this is public, but my mother-in-law is the first person I saw who has stood up unapologetically and told everybody, I am a homemaker. I have enabled all of you to go and work and earn and all the identities that you are carrying. I am responsible for that. She is the first and was very, very empowered, she said. So, I keep telling other people whenever this conversation comes. The first time I heard was when I was newly married and I saw her standing really tall and proud and telling everybody, literally telling off people, don't you dare, undermine my work. Till that time, even I had not thought of that. Not that I was just an observer of that situation. But I said, wow, yeah, how correct that. That never struck me.
Well, I'll tell you another incident that happened. This was, I'm not sure if it was just before I became contemplative. Definitely before the Domestic Violence Act came into. So there was this huge meeting of women activists. And many women's home were being abused to. And this woman, she may have gone to school, I'm not sure. She was working in some house as a cat. And she was being abused. She came and said, she said, I won't leave the house. Why should I? I have as much right in the house as that man has. She knew about shared residence before we put it in the act, and she was just thrilled. And she was not English educated. And you think that English education makes her someone else. I mean, she was so clear. Then, because she had contributed a believer to that space, she had the right to see it.
I'm so happy that we're bringing this conversation out. It was very, very relevant tonight. I would like to delve a little more in this conversation, but maybe a little later, because there's so much I want to talk to you about. There's so much you can speak about. So I just want to move on a little bit from what you said about law, not knowing the law. Because that time shared residence is probably not part of the Act. The Act is only 2005, Mr. Ganik Act. But this lady, in a small town in South India, knew about it and proudly proclaimed. And this really leads me to question about the whole concept of law and justice. Where, what is law and justice? We believe that they are the same. We spoke a little earlier before we started recording that they are actually not the same.
How the same? See, justice is something that we translate in Tamil as Nyayam. I suppose most Indian languages say Anyayam. So, let us say we are talking to somebody who's worked for a day doing carpentry. And we got paid. The carpenter is saying the Nyayam. So that means everyone has a sense of what is just and what is fair.
Yes.
But that those parameters of justice and fairness may not have been translated as legal rules, acts, or regulations or something. So, when something happens which the person on the road thinks is unjust, but the court gives a different verdict, they can't understand. But it's very difficult to explain that the court can't just punish a person because that person did unjust. We need to have the evidence. We need to have so many other.
And unfortunately, there is a procedure.
There's a procedure.
And there are technicalities involved.
And that is where, I mean, I think a court should try hard to make the ordinary person's idea of justice and law come as close as possible. But the likelihood, percentage of likelihood it falls short because we are an adversarial system. The person who can afford the
Clever
lawyer, the better lawyer, when seems kind of person who cannot show, it also depends on the clerks. So there is injustice. And the declaration of law by the court does not fall within the ordinary person's understanding or policy.
Yes, sir. But I always am curious to think of how do we bridge that thing? How do we make it smaller? Maybe one of the ways is through conversations like this, where we are able to, make these awareness things. But how is it that one can make it smaller?
When you ask this question, one immediate thought that comes to me is pre-litigation discussion, like mediation. There I think we can and understand we can bring law and justice courts here. But there are some situations that it can't be done. I think in a country like ours, which should be with violent discrepancies in the resources, somehow we should work out a system that even the poorest can get the best legally.
Access,
and it's utopia. But we can try probably by if every lawyer contributes a certain number of hours to her work, and including seniors, then the poorest can probably get the best.
Because there are so many moving parts to this also. The lawyers themselves are so burdened. There is only finite time. There are so many matters. We know that. So it's all like almost a vicious circle that feeds off each other in this. And this is food for thought. We are happy to hear comments if anyone has any. Now, one of the other things that I want to bring up is how you have emphasized to me for more diversity in the judicial. And famous people think about that.
And Lady Hale, who became the first woman Chief Justice of the Appellate, she attended a conference in Sydney of International Women Judges. I was there, and she said that when the person on the road looks at a judicial that is gold, white, Anglo-Saxon, Anglican men, when they feel this is my coach, there is a sense of alienation. Now translate that to our situation. We should have, I think, I'm not talking of quotas, but I'm talking of a conscious effort on the part of, right now it is the collegium, it is of the collegium of the High Court and the Supreme Court, to bring as many diverse experiences into the judiciary. Because, for example, we are talking about the repeat objection. Your colleague said, I agree with you, but why didn't I write the judgment? A colleague, not even another colleague, he called me. I said, because that is not the case. I have always lived with each other. I have lived, I am educated, urban, privileged. So, I think the other facet should also come into the judicial to make the judiciary go.
Nice.
For instance, when Justice Chudamani retired, there was a buzz. Now, which one is going to be? Why should they have thought of a woman only when she retired? Before that, a man retired.
Right.
They could have brought a woman in. Is it wrong to have one more woman apart from Justice Chudamani? Is that seat warm only for women?
Yes.
I mean, this kind of thinking is not there only in the judiciary. It's there.
Yes.
It's there everywhere. We don't see as many women in different spheres as we would like to. Sometimes I feel if you look at a triangle, at the bottom there is a fairly good 50-50.
Yes.
And at the top, there may even be women. But in the middle, there is that imbalance comes. And that's, I think, because it's during that time that children are born and there are other factors that happen to the woman, which is not of her own making. It happens because she loses her.
Yeah.
And how do you factor this in? And I'm not talking only about women. The glory of our country is its diversity.
Yeah.
So, in the south, it's very different from the northeast. Very different. But there is also some unity.
Yes.
There is a unifying feature, which is kind of sometimes in this only an Indian candidate or something like it, some commonality. But we are very different. We are very, very different. So, shouldn't the judiciary reflect on that? I mean, not perfection, but approximation to perfection should be adequate.
Yes. I agree. I also feel that in our country, every 200 kilometers you go, it is a new language, new everything. It's literally like a new making country. And judges are listening to people's problems and they're solving people's problems for now and for many years later, depending on how high you are. So you really need to understand the culture of that person who's coming to country. So this is, I'm just speaking with your point of diversity. You were able to think about people who got you off a homemaker to have walked in those shoes also. So you were able to think about it. There are some people, in this case, a man who was not, he never walked in that shoe and he was not living.
But there I have to spread another news. But very many extremely pro-women judges have been written by men.
Yes.
So it's only you must think about.
Oh, okay.
You must walk in the shoes.
You can walk in the shoes despite not having lyrics.
Not despite. But we can never be the same.
Yeah.
We can never be the same. But when they come, you can try to understand. See, it is more difficult for the woman to come to serve than for the man. I'm talking about marital partners.
Yes.
So she always comes with somebody else.
Yeah.
Because in our country, for some reason, women don't go alone. And if they come from a working class, it means loss of daily wages for two.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not saying that should impact your judgment, but that should inform the judgment. We should be aware.
Yes.
We should be aware that this is, and the same with it is a totally, let's say, person with disability. Then what will their experience be? What will their expectation be? For instance, let us take, this example was given to us in one of our workshops in the Bhopal National Judicial Academy. You bring a bunch of people inside a room and keep all the books there. And say, see, it's available to all. But there are people who can't read. So how do you help them? So that is what the judges should do. Not necessary for the judge to herself be shorter or answer. Yes, they can understand. They can understand that this is something we need to help the person with disability so that she also has a level playing field. She need not be denied any opportunity, let's say because she has mobility issues or let's say hearing impairment. If otherwise she's satisfied. So
Yes.
so that is something that we have to consciously practice.
Yes. Walking in front.
But I think it's not judges alone, I think
Even us.
lawyers too.
Everybody, all of us, in the way we also give advice.
Yeah, in the way we give advice.
Because that is the first step. Then only they become literates.
Yeah.
You can stop a lot of things in your office.
Yes.
Which will give them, if you know, for give them the message. Now, coming again, stopping a lot of things in your office. You may have spoken to a million people by now in various situations, in the various roles that you have played within the gender legal system. What would you say are the three main mistakes that you see people make? I ask this to all the guests who come, and I'm always fascinated by the answers. And I'm curious to know your views.
I can think of one right away. That is generally the perception is that the delay in dispensation of justice, the judges are really responsible. But there is a judge, there is a lawyer, and there is a litigator. So it's a three-pronged space. Let's take, for simplicity, for better understanding, let's take the rent part. The tenant who approaches the lawyer says even at the beginning, delay it as much as possible. So it's not the judge level. I mean, I know whatever the judge can do to cut down delay, the judge should do. But it's not the judge's responsibility or the judge's failing. The judge alone is not at fault. The other perception is somehow the whole system is outed and decrepit in our lives. And I think 70 years ago, an attorney general said the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's because against 65% of the persons involved in the justice delivery system are doing their job that it is not crumbles and collapsed in law. I don't know, I can't hazard a guess for how long this will go on. Maybe from tomorrow we may roll up our sleeves and if I become better, I don't know why. Why should I choose? But it's not the fault of one person.
Yes.
Exactly. It is the fault of this collective
responsibility, which is what I am moving to. I don't know. Maybe solve in some way these conversations. I truly believe that with greater awareness, we can change behaviors.
Yeah.
As we all speak about this more openly, we can change behaviors. We can understand each other. We are so different. We don't really speak to each other in the same language. So, the one thing that every guest has said is please approach lawyers at a more private stage. Don't wait for the last minute to come to us.
But I think even doctors please.
Yeah, they.
And even doctors also, this is shocking. So I think we should make, you're right, we should make the awareness spread. And also, I don't know how much the citizens understand what the pleadings.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have myself asked. I mean, sometimes they say, "Can we approve the bill?" They come and talk to us. And then they say, "No, that's one thing. I didn't say this." Well, that's not to say that. See, the lawyer is thinking of it as a case. And so may put in something which the lawyer thinks will strengthen the case. I'm not attributing any merit. But the client says that he or she did not say it.
Yes.
So understanding and explaining But you mentioned one point at that is lack of time. I don't know how many lawyers have the time. Well, I don't know actually. Well, I really think that if many of us went to pre-litigation processes, I think it will be better.
We are very contentious, litigious society. We probably don't need to read.
No need to be, and we are contentious only in the beginning.
Yeah.
And tell you a case that happened. It started when my husband was alive. It was an appeal against a partition suit. Very wealthy family in Kadal. Very wealthy. They had Kadal is down there. They had acres and acres of land. And they were enjoying the portions in one way, but they wanted it to be altered, something like that. Then they were so vehemently opposed against each other that the lawyer who appeared for the other side was a friend of Sridevan. I mean, lawyers are all friends; they are not enemies. So when they came out of the court, both of them went to the canteen together. So that's why I changed the lawyer. Good. We were talking to the other side lawyers. Okay. And then what happened? That side murdered our client, his wife, and 3 children. So one child was alive, the youngest one, and that was a miracle because it was cut like this. That was a miracle. And then the one who was alleged to have committed the murder, he went to jail. His brother went mad. All kinds of. Then later, a long time later, must be 10, 12 years later, they both agreed. We will agree, file the memorandum of compromise. We will enjoy the lands as we are enjoying, which we suggested right then. So, initially the tempers are very, very hot. But after a year, maybe after 2 years, I think it is worth pursuing this. In court's time, it is where for other things where mediation is not an option. Yes. And waste of client's money, man hours, money, court hours, everything can be saved. But people should understand that this is worth it. Yeah. It's not a weakness to go to mediation. Instead, it's strength actually.
Yes. And also maybe we need to understand that when we go for mediation, we're going for a dispute resolution mechanism. See, I have also been guilty of this. That my instructions, I was a legal counsel. So for the court system, I am not litigant. And for the lawyers, I am client. And my instructions were that whatever happens, we are not going to settle this matter because we truly believe that we have been wrong. And obviously, they truly believe that we are not done our work. So both of us are so adamant in our position. So the mediator's problem client is our best. But we both are like nothing. No, so this is the only one point that I am. This is my hesitation that how is mediation going to work through this ego, which is a very human problem.
I think now many corporate structures are understanding it's not worth wasting that.
Yeah, we also did that. No, ultimately we settled.
Yeah, I think it should permeate to all levels. Wherever it can be said, it should be said.
Yes. True. And I have one last question now to just close out this section of the podcast, which is I want to talk to you about your victory work. And I see this beautiful array of wonderful books over here, some of which I have read, many of which I have not. And I know that you translate Tamil literary works into English. We translated some really well-known Tamil gems, Chudamani, etc. How has your love for literature influenced your writing, your career as a lawyer, and therefore thereafter as a judge?
Yeah, it has. Because there will, whatever situation there is, there will be a parallel literature. And it's not a carbon copy parallel, but it gives an insight. And nothing judgments can become a show. So I always try to liven it up by introducing a quotation or something like that. For instance, in the judgment against the ban of Da Vinci Code of the freedom of speech, I started with what Milton wrote in Aryabachi. So it's just a kind of a, let's say, dark, but it made me enjoy the process.
Yeah.
And definitely, literature helps your sensitivity. I was thinking that there is probably a generation of lawyers who don't touch any books but law books. I think we should read other books. I mean, other insights that could be philosophy, it could be anything.
Yes, of course. Because everything informs your perspective.
Yeah.
It is the perspective that you're bringing actually that
Yeah.
that person, whatever position you are in that. And what do you do in terms of, you want to speak a little bit about your work in literature, what is it that you do and why are you doing this?
Yeah. This is something that like translation brought into my life recently. And then I enjoy it very much. I have translated Chudamani for portion of the is the woman writer, urban, bilingual, educated. So her life and understanding are probably similar to mine because I am one of them. I'm middle class, white thinker. But then I have translated Token Mohammed Veera, who comes from Kanyakumari, rural. I think Veera did not even know much English. He's centered only in the Kerala Tamil Nadu border. So I learned the life of how the Muslims of that place live. Then I had translated Uwe Saminathan, who's called the Tamil Tata, the father of Tamil. He was the one who unearthed the Sangam poetry for us. Today we talk about Tamil being a classical language. He unearthed one of them. He literally climbed up the loft of every house in Tamil Nadu. Once I translated his essays. Then I have translated S. Ramakrishnan, which is diverse. And then I translated Yemayam Nisunkya. He talks mainly of the people with voices. The people. So I'm learning the lives of all these people. And I've also translated the Sage of Kanchi.
Yes.
So that is very difficult because I can't use slang and all that. I have to use words which are
Appropriate,
and then I translated Kalki's granddaughter Sita Ravi's short stories about the music of the literature. They have also made stage. So I enjoyed it very much.
I love the diversity of this one. So many different
times I got into their lives. And this book that's on the table, this is about a 15-year-old whose kidneys are big. So the director is the 15-year-old. Never once that the 15-year-old voice changed. So when I'm translating, then I have to think of words which are 15-year-old.
Yes,
Yeah. It's very rewarding. And as I tell my friends, even I like the youngsters who report and said, I'm working from home. Though I was fluent well with
Yes. But this section of the podcast, the last section of the podcast, I do for myself because I love hearing the answers that everybody says. And it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because that's the 5 of us. And typically quicker answers better and then first one. So 5 productivity tips or anything that you have done to balance in all the various roles of your life.
I don't know if I can think of 5, but it is. If I decide to give the judgment, let's say by 3 weeks, or give up an article within 10 days, I try to go into the half that. because even if what I have done is not satisfactory, I have that time to garnish it.
Yeah.
So, do it before. That's one thing I will ask. And then the other thing is, it bears my name. I'm a suit.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the fact that it will bear my name. It's not in an egoistic sense, but nothing shabby should. That's something that sometimes bothers me as a country. Only sometimes it happens.
Maybe we always,
Not
let's be
always.
honest.
Not always.
Chalo.
And I think what comes, even it's like my stenographers who and say that I should touch what you have done only to sign, not to type. You must. So that pride we should have in our work. And then the other thing, I'm not saying in the order of
Yeah, sure.
see, I am, I have a certain standard of individual. I really feel that I must accord to people who can me because actually I need the relation.
Right.
And this I think they should do wherever you do the keyword outside. I mean, everyone deserves dignity. This is something one of my friends, she's a lawyer. She is a wonderful she said, traffic lights will on a bit. I don't want the state police to pick their eyes and then say, that's recognition of it. That affected me. She says, you can say, wow. But you don't even look as if that person is not a person. It's you're not able to be touched. So that I think is something that I'm going to and I'm trying to sing it. Sometimes you go on. But I love the
Yeah. I didn't do it yesterday. I got. So, fiber influence just so it sounds better. Okay, 4 books that you recommend or that you have read a lot.
Yeah, I tell you what I have read a lot. Of these 3 are kind of law and life. One is this book here creates in this my friend in Switzerland she gave. It's called Flying in the Wings of Birds. Which is the biography of why woman called anything inspired. She wanted to become a lawyer. She studied. But then before they told us about our principle. The chairman said, you have one defect, you are okay. And then acquire my found in that book, which I have often told myself. It's an anonymous poem. As I walked through myself, I talked to myself. Myself said unto me, look to thyself, take care of thyself, ask man to take care of him.
Yeah.
So this word in English, that is one. See, the Engineering Law is a book written by many scholars as a tribute to Lotika Sarkar, the feminist teacher. So I read many of the chapters again and again. Then heard a lot of his R&B sacks, just as R&B sacks of South Africa. That I think is forget the title is there. He talks of a case. He talks of all that went into his mind when he decided that case. Okay, it's a brilliant. It's about life, but the first one of law and life, like R&B sacks. Then the 4th is not law and literature. It's called Shakespeare, An Invention of the Human by Arnold Bloom. So each chapter is about one thing.
Okay.
And we talked about the characters. I have read it so many times how it's stuck with the bandage and plaster. So these are books I constantly dip into one. There are other books too, many books, but I thought I'd stop with it.
It's very difficult to stop it for an example there. Somebody asked me this question, I don't know. So I only ask this question. There are three things that you would want, three tips that you would want to give young lawyers or students or
This is what this and many of the things I have said before. Sorry, so was pardon me. Okay. This is something that Justice King taught us in part. He said that since straight Justice Prabha as a great answer, that has not a place. I think that applies not just to judges, to lawyers as well. The other thing I will tell to lawyers is see if what you do aligns with the Constitution. That is our only. So put two.
Check.
Right.
Three, I'll tell you the most common, you can see you want to adopt it also. The most common answer to this question, I think, work hard. You're in this profession, you have to work. There are no shortcuts. That is the everybody has said it.
Six straight level.
I'm sorry. So, okay, now 3 is over. 2 life lessons that you have learned so far in life.
This too is a repeat. This is I'm going to take a review. When my husband died, I mean, there was anger, there was grief, there was so many things. They didn't know how to handle other things. One very specific used the age. He said, "Amma, translate all this negativity to positive energy. That is the tribute of the to smile, right?
Beautiful. Every lesson of yours, this is little cheating. So you need one lesson, then we can draw many from that.
Oh, but it's beautiful.
And the last thing which I asked everyone, one best piece of advice that you have got. Yeah, that's
guided me from life.
Yeah. So even now, all the frustration and all the feeling of helplessness that you feel at various points of time. Hopefully that's what we are doing in this conversation. But man, thank you.
Thank you.
I have so much to talk to you about. I came early and I took 1 hour extra of yours just chatting. Thank you for being here. Hopefully we can talk again.
Yeah, it's always good to share and my thoughts for what it's worth.
Yeah, it's worth a lot. Because it's important, I think, for us to preserve the wisdom of the people who have. We have like a Gurukul culture in our profession. We learn from your senior. But then there are so many wonderful seniors that we don't have access to because we're not in the same geographical area. We just don't meet them. So the attempt of this entire series is so that stories like this is preserved. So people learn and they have access to the seniors that they may not have.
Right. Because I told you about this Thomas telling me 6 straight and they answer will talk to you. When Justice Prabha Sridevan, my guy, told them all, I still don't know what inspired both of us to say that efficacy, the word efficacy in the patriarchy means therapeutic efficacy. Because that has made a seed.
Yes.
But I think it's because we said so. The correct answer. But recently we met at the meet. He said, how did we do it? I called me partner. Partner, how did we do it? Really don't know because otherwise the patent owners would have said solubility is efficacy, give us patent. But in India, we say therapy. So something like that is done. It will sit straight.
So on that note, thank you.
Thank you very much for asking me to share my thoughts and inviting me to the space.
And hopefully we will have more conversations. So stay tuned for the next one and thank you.